We've all been there. January 1st hits and you are overflowing with Icha Shakti, pure, unadulterated willpower. You're going to hit the gym, read 50 books, and learn a new language. But by the second week of February, the gym shoes are gathering dust, and the resolutions are practically up in flames. When that drop-off happens, it's incredibly easy to blame yourself. You naturally assume you lack discipline, or that you simply aren't trying hard enough. The truth is, your personal drive isn't the problem. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Obsessing over a massive end goal is an ineffective way to change behavior. It's the daily operational system, the underlying machinery of your life that dictates whether you succeed or fail. Instead of attempting an overnight transformation, there is a more consistent method, aiming to get exactly 1% better every single day. Roz sirf 1% better. This graph shows how that math plays out. If you map out a 365-day timeline, staying the same leaves you flatlined. But if you manage a microscopic 1% improvement daily, the math of compounding takes over. By the end of the year, the curve spikes, leaving you 37 times better than when you started. To achieve that growth, we have to look at this flowchart, which maps the mechanics of human behavior. Every habit you have operates on a predictable 4-step biological loop. First, a cue triggers your brain. That creates a craving. You execute a response. And finally, you get a reward. Deconstructing and engineering those 4 specific steps allows you to work with your brain's natural feedback loop rather than fighting against it. It's how you turn the math of compounding into a daily reality. We start by hacking the first half of the loop, the input. Law 1 is make it obvious. Relying on your internal memory to remember to do a new habit is usually the first point to failure. You need an implementation intention. This means creating a hard link between a new habit and a specific time, a physical location, or an existing routine, a technique known as habit stacking. For example, deciding, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Your physical environment has to do the heavy lifting. If you want to practice the guitar, but it's buried in the back of a dark closet, the cue is hidden. Place that same guitar directly in the center of your bed, and the cue becomes impossible to ignore. Once the cue is obvious, we apply Law 2, make it attractive. You have to manufacture desire by engineering the craving phase of the brain's loop. You can accomplish this through temptation bundling. This is the process of pairing a difficult, necessary habit with a highly desired, effortless one. If you only allow yourself to watch your favorite show while sweating on the treadmill, you create a reason to actually want to run. By designing your physical cues and bundling your cravings, you reduce the reliance on raw willpower. Initiating the habit becomes a byproduct of your environment. Now we engineer the output, the actual doing. Law 3 is make it easy. Friction and complexity are the natural enemies of action. If a habit feels like a major chore, your brain will often seek a path of less resistance. This brings us to the 2-minute rule, 2-minute ka niyam. Take any ambitious new habit and scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to complete. Don't commit to reading a whole chapter, commit to reading exactly 1 page. A habit has to be established before it can be improved. You cannot optimize a behavior that doesn't exist yet. The 2-minute rule focuses entirely on the act of showing up. Finally, to ensure you repeat the behavior tomorrow, we apply Law 4, make it satisfying. The brain prioritizes immediate feedback to signal that an action is worth repeating, effectively closing the loop. Look at this calendar tracking system. One of the most effective ways to provide that immediate feedback is through habit tracking. Every time you complete your 2-minute habit, you mark it with a bold red X. There is psychological satisfaction in seeing that visual chain grow, which creates a reason not to break it. By minimizing the physical friction of starting and providing a visual reward upon finishing, you increase the likelihood that the biological loop will trigger again the next day. There is a deeper layer to this entire process. It requires shifting our focus away from external actions and looking directly at our internal psychology. Consider this target model. Most operate on the outermost ring, setting outcome goals, like running a marathon. But the innermost core represents identity, believing you are a runner. Permanent change flows from the inside out. Your habits reflect the person you believe you are. When you reframe your psychology this way, executing a 2-minute habit acts as a vote cast in favor of your future identity. So here is your challenge for today. Decide on one microscopic 2-minute habit and cast your first vote. Head down to the comments and write out your specific implementation intention, what you'll do, when, and where. We do not alter our lives through massive overnight leaps. We change who we are through the microscopic daily votes that slowly forge an entirely new identity.